Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of News in Motion. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. It is Hump Day. It is the middle of the week. It is What to Know Wednesday. If you enjoyed our Talk About It Tuesday yesterday, please let us know in the chat. And also let us know how you're doing so far in the middle of the week. We hope that your week is going fantastic as you are. Good morning to you, Miss Adrian. Good morning to you, Miss Shirley Nicholson. Good morning, Miss Marian Jackson. Tuning in through YouTube. You can also tune in and view us here on LinkedIn, or if you're listening in through audio or podcast, we just want to say good morning, good evening, whatever time of the day you're watching this or listening to this. We just want to say good morning to you as well. If you're ready for What to Know Wednesday, please let us know in the chat that you have your paper, you have your pen, you are inviting a few friends over to News in Motion for this relevant commentary and call to action. And be sure that you subscribe and hit that like button if you're viewing through YouTube. Good morning, Miss Tracy Newmy. Good morning, Mr. Regina Shores. And good morning, Miss Kim Edmondson, to all tuning in through the tubes of you on this wonderful Wednesday, this Hump Day Wednesday. So, without further delay, let's get to it, y'all, with some news in motion.
News in motion.
Hey, what's happening, everyone? I am watching these numbers, if you're wondering what I'm doing, and it shows us that we have 0 live viewers, and we have way more than that. So I don't know what's happening with our system, but hey, guess what? It's going to be okay. I see you, Deborah Johnson, coming in here. I see you, Virgie. Good morning to you. And I see you, Lori Williams Wallace, in here as well. So good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So we have no idea. So just let me know in the chat if you're actually seeing this live. Just say, yes, we see it, because we have no idea why it's showing 0 on the actual StreamYard view when they normally give us numbers. But on the podcast, you're coming in just fine. So let us know. Just let us know if you're, if you see me, if you hear me. Just put that in the chat so we can find out what may be going on our end. And so far, none of you are responding. That's interesting. Huh. Oh, Kim says, yes, I see it. Can you hear it as well, Kim? I just want to know if you can hear us as well. If you could let us know, because it's really showing 0 views. But we see you in the actual chat. So that's very interesting. And Deborah says, yes, we are definitely here. Virgie is saying yes. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I have no idea what it is. So anyway, good morning to all of you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is What to Know Wednesday. A lot is happening. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is Wednesday, May the 22nd, 2024. I am your host, Gail Dudley. I must say I'm real comfortable with this new setup too. How we just move some things around. It's like, this is the feel I've been waiting for quite some time. So it's here. So we had that audio mix up. I'm going to take full responsibility for that. I moved the microphone and had to move it back. And we didn't know till later that it was really doing what it was doing. All right, y'all, this is Wednesday Workshop, What to Know Wednesday, but we have a few headline news first. So we're going to get to that first. As many have reported, and I'm sure you have already heard by now, the defense rests. So there is no surprise that Donald J. Trump will not testify in his election interference hush money trial. The jury will begin deliberations next week. You'll probably have some closing arguments, or the rules will be set Thursday. They're not there today, on Thursday by the judge. And then on next Tuesday, they'll probably start with their closing their final words, and then the jury will go and deliberate. So that's going to be very interesting. So both sides presented. Now here's what's interesting. I hope you all are following this, because so many people were saying, I knew he wasn't going to testify. He's been testifying every day. He's been at that court. I think it's ridiculous that the news media was capturing. He had his own little corner where he would just make things up and say different things and do different things. He was pretty much trying to continue this narrative. On our News in Motion Facebook page, I shared a post this morning by an exceptional journalist that gives some history, some context. Please, if you probably need about 15 minutes to read it and really digest it. If you have that opportunity to do so, it is on our Facebook page. I sent it over there this morning. It's a great read. Make sure you're reading that. So let's talk about Trump for a moment, since we're talking about him. The Guardian is reporting, and that author is Michael Centanio. There was a video posted on Monday. Maybe you're aware of it, on Truth Social. It was up for about 15 hours until someone realized the words that were being used, and they took it down. And it was removed as of sometime yesterday afternoon. So the post was, what happens after Donald Trump wins? What's next for America? Now, this is all hypothetical, but they put this post out there, and this is from his press people. Put this post out there on Truth Social. And they were using terminology that actually Adolf Hitler used in Nazi Germany, which isn't exactly what any of us want, but they put that out there. Go back to Project 2025, that it was in the Friday rundown. All that information is in there, except they didn't use the actual word. And I'm not going to repeat the word here. Just look it up. You can Google it. You can see it there. So the message went up on Truth Social, and the former president shared it on his post. And once people realized what happened because of the word that was used, they took it down 15 hours later. Now, the post referenced things like how things are going to be, how the border is going to close, how anyone will be, different people will be deported, how you won't be able to protest. The list went on and on and on and on and on. Now there's no one can find this post. If you click in it now, it says post has been removed, but there's a lot of news out there where people were able to take screenshots, and those screenshots are out there. So you really want to take a look at it and take a step back to say, okay, what is really going on, and why are these things going on? So that is out there. That is out there. A strong message was sent yesterday in the state of Georgia, especially Fulton County. Fani Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney, whose office, as you all know, is currently prosecuting Donald Trump for election interference, defeated Democrat and former prosecutor Kristen Wise Smith. Fani Willis is expected to actually win in November against the Republican candidate Courtney Kramer, a former legal intern in the Trump administration and a former litigation consultant to the Trump campaign. So that's happening. But what people aren't also talking about is how the judge in Fulton County, Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee, who was randomly assigned to preside over the election interference case, also won in his nonpartisan election to keep his seat. So that also sends a message that people want this to work its way through. So that's really good news that people have stood up. I guess there were some lines out there yesterday as well that people are saying, we want this to continue. We want this to continue. Now, y'all, I'm setting this all up going into our Wednesday workshop. Minus this piece, but I'm still kind of putting this in here as well. Yesterday, as you may have heard, there was turbulence on this airplane and actually killed a 73-year-old man. And the USA Today is reporting that he passed away and at least 71 others were injured during the severe turbulence aboard a Singapore Airlines flight from London to Singapore early on yesterday. The flight was redirected for an emergency landing in Thailand, where dozens were treated for back and head injuries, including 6 that were critical. And again, we had 1 that did pass away. The Boeing 777 was carrying 229 people at 33,000 feet when the plane abruptly dropped 6,000 feet in roughly 2 minutes, throwing passengers against the ceiling and so forth and so on. I want to stress again, that's why they tell y'all to keep your seatbelts on. And some said that they did have theirs on, but they were very loose. They weren't tightened. There's a reason that we do that. So just think about that the next time you're flying. But this happened. And again, 1 died. A man, 73 years old, passed away. Y'all, the Biden administration cancels another 160,000 borrower student loans. I don't know what the number is now, but that's happening as well. I'm sure that those who went to the Supreme Court to block those first round, they're probably thinking, why don't we just let this go? Because now it's way more than they ever thought they were going to have all of these. What's up, Stephanie Burbridge Hall? So I want to get into this morning's workshop. Again, we're talking about planning your vote, and even what I just shared, going back to this court hearing, because, let's talk about this for a moment. There's many people who are having hearings in a courtroom all across America, but they don't come out of the courtroom if they choose not to testify or to go onto the witness stand, to have that opportunity to be in front of the camera where everybody can see, whether it's a local thing or a national thing. We don't see that. I think this is the only dude that's been able to do this, where every day going into the courtroom and coming out of the courtroom, he has something to say. Then we have Truth Social and the things that are posted there. I'm not a member of Truth Social, but because of the alerts, the media alerts, we get a lot of that information. So just reading through that, going back to Project 2025, which we've talked about here. And then yesterday I had an opportunity to join on live stream a school board meeting. I won't mention what school, but I had the opportunity to join on live stream a school board meeting. And I must say, I sat watching this as they were panning the audience, thinking the audience does not fully reflect the community. That's number 1. Number 2, the school board went into an executive session abruptly because of something that was leaked and came out. And they were in their executive session about an hour and 15, an hour, 20 minutes, while people in the community were trying to get through the school board meeting. And many of them had their children there because their children were on the agenda to speak to a particular matter. So they came back, they somewhat apologized, they continued with the school board meeting. After that, they went back into an executive session. But all the entire time I'm watching this, I said, this is why we attend town hall meetings, school board meetings, PTA, PTOs, community council meetings, and so forth. Y'all, so much is happening in these meetings that we're missing out on because we're making a decision not to take 2 hours out of our month or even 3 hours out of our month to go and attend to see what's happening. Later, when it comes down to being on the ballot, it's too late. So I want to go over some of these things. And if Isaiah, if you can pop up that first slide. So I want to go over some of these things. So this is plan your vote. Well, before you can do anything, you have to register to vote. I was looking at some of the numbers, the most recent numbers of eligible voters. There's about, throughout the U.S., eligible voters, it's ridiculous. People are not registering to vote. And I have no idea what else we can do to try to get people registered to vote. The numbers are just ridiculous. My thing is, when you turn 18, I think it should be automatic, but then I guess it gives you the opportunity to make the decision if you're going to register or not. So they're leaving it to the people to register or not. Okay, that's fine. But do you realize what you're missing out of if you're not registering to vote? Because to register to vote, you're voting. Again, let's not just look at the national elections. Let's also look at the local elections. If you're not registering to vote, you can't vote for school board members. You can't, which means you don't have a voice, especially if you have children or grandchildren, or you're paying property taxes. If you're not registered to vote, you can't even speak to that. And I want us to back up. And so today, when I was putting this together, I said, it's time for me to back up a little bit to explain some of these things. And I realize that everybody does not want to hear this, but this is where we are. When they panned the room yesterday at this particular school board meeting, and there's one teacher was speaking about that she's an immigrant, and she was talking about how many nationalities are attending this particular school system. And I'm looking at the demographics in the room from what I could see. No one spoke. This is just what I was able to see. I would say maybe 2% of those that she was speaking of was in the room. So if someone is in a meeting and they're looking out and they know their demographics and they know their families, and they're saying, well, obviously they don't care about this because they're not in the room, that makes a difference. I see you, Tracy Numi. Tracy Numi says some parents do not vote, so therefore their children won't. That's a good point. Latrice Jones says, talk about it. Says, what's up? Good morning to you. So what happens is people look out and say, let's give for example, well, you're talking about the African Americans, but they're not in the room. They're not in the room. So apparently they don't care. That's the mindset, and that's how things get passed because we're not in the room. There was a recent levy here in Columbus, Ohio, with the particular school board, and people were they have no idea what just vote yes, vote no. Okay, I'm gonna just pick one. Well, why are you picking that? For what did you step back and do an analysis of what your property taxes are going to look like? Did you figure out your budget in looking at your property taxes to see if that's a good thing? Do you understand where the money is going to trickle out to? Exactly where it's going to land? Do you have a clear understanding before you vote? Good morning, Robert Holman. That's what's important. That's what's important. But you can't do anything unless you register to vote. If you're not a registered voter, I would encourage you to do it today. You can go to www.us.gov. You can go to www.whenweallvote.com. iwillvote.com. There are so many of them. Thank you, Isaiah. He was like, let me put these up there. Thank you, Isaiah. He's always on point with that. Register to vote. Unless you're registered, you can forget about it. You can forget about it. In this school board live stream that I came across and watched on yesterday, a student gave a testimony. I guess they get 3 minutes or something like that. And I thought, wow, that's great. That's powerful. I loved, and her parent was standing there. I think she was a fifth grader. Don't quote me. I think she was a fifth grade, maybe a fourth grader. But she stated that. And there was a community of people behind her clapping for her when she was done. And I thought, well, where are the other children that also make up the community? And what's the process to get people on that docket so that they can become a part of the agenda, so they can also share? Where's the passion of the overall community when it comes to meetings like that? Because decisions are made, and then you're mad about it later because your voice wasn't in it. Well, you weren't there. You weren't in the room. So plan your vote, check your vote. So let's say you are registered. Well, check your voting registration. And some people have said, when you say that, I'm like, whatever. But then I go there and I find out my name's spelled wrong, or they have my old address. Y'all, that happens. seconds. And if they're changing over systems, and it may not even be intentional, they could be pulling old information and you have no idea they changed the system. It pulled your old information. You go to the vote to vote that day and you have to use a provisional ballot because you didn't check it. Yeah, it takes less than 60 seconds to check your voter information. Less than 60. And you can go to those same sites that we just gave you to check it. At this point, with the height of this election that's coming up for November the 5th, I am checking mine every week. Call me anal, but I'm checking it every week just to make sure, to see if anything has changed. Also, identify your district. I am still shocked how many people have no idea their district. I'm like, why don't we know? Why don't we know our district? If you don't know your district, you don't even know your representatives. Know them. Find out who they are. Check their voting record. Check how many times they voted present when it came to legislation. Check how many times they didn't even show up. Check how many times they voted yes or they voted no. All of this is public record, public information. Check it. Here's an example. Let me go national for a moment. Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She is in the stock market, okay? But it's not secret. It's not secret. It's out there. So you can even see in this year, 5 months, she's a part of the options trading, her portfolio of a company that the ticker is PANW. I'm not giving any stock advice here at all. And when you look at their record, because now that stuff is public knowledge, I was like, did she make $21 million from a stock in 5 months? Yes. So we look at those things and we say, okay, well, this is knowledge. How did they get this knowledge? How are they building this knowledge? How can we work this knowledge for our good as well? Y'all, everything's connected. Everything's connected. Kim Edmondson's always saying connect the dots. Everything is connected. I see Vergie's on here. Let's go back to Virginia for a moment. During the protests, we were out. George Floyd murder. We were out. People were out. They were taking down statues all over. Well, in Virginia, the school board said, it's quiet now. Let's put these 2 statues back up in a particular school system. I can't remember which one. They put the 2 statues back up and no one said anything. It's like we have to be ongoing with the work that we're doing and not just momentarily when our emotions are involved. Well, take emotions out. What do you like? What don't you like? And as a registered voter, attend these town hall meetings to talk about it. Find out your district, gather information on ballot measures and candidates. Y'all, seriously, local level, start by listing all the local ballot measures. Y'all, this takes work. And maybe that's the problem. I see you on here, Latrice. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we don't want to work for it. This takes work. We have to work. I had someone say to me the other day, I won't name them. I believe they're on here. They said to me the other day, they said, you did a Ready Vote Resource magazine in 2022. Can you do another one? And I said, do you know how much work goes into that? And like, we don't care. I don't want articles. I just want, can you put that together for me? Because I don't have time to do the research. You gonna pay for that? Like, seriously, there's a lot of work. But then I took a step back and said, well, maybe people really don't know where to start. So what other means can I do this? And then I started looking at the calendar. How can I raise funds to get another voting resource piece out here? Well, we're just giving it away. And that's what happened. We had a sponsor 2 years ago who said, you know what, Gail, forget it. I'm going to give you some money. Just give this away. I think we had enough to give away. I think it was 10,000 copies. And I think we ended up giving about 20-something thousand copies because people were asking for it. But it said to me, people really don't know. And I really want you all's help today. Help me decide, how do we get this information out there? And what does that look like? And it has to be done. And, we have our News in Motion ambassadors. We're trying to put things out there, but then it like falls apart. And I'm trying to figure out, why does that piece fall apart? Is it that we're not as interested in it? Is it that we become frustrated with it? And I get it, because there's times I'm frustrated as well. It's like, don't y'all get this? But it has to be ongoing. We just cannot respond when it's an election year. It does not work that way. This is ongoing advocacy, the good and the bad. National level, expand your list to include national ballot measures and candidates. Who's running for office? I am, I used to be shocked. I guess I'm not shocked anymore. But when I tell people all 435 seats are open, they're like, really? Yes, they are. Every 2 years, people, every 2 years. Every 2 years. And what happens on the 4-year with the presidential election, every seat is open in the House, every seat. Stay informed, y'all. Choose reliable news sources and outlets to keep you up to date. Find that reliable source. Engage in your community. Send postcards, host a coffee, organize a gathering, attend community events, and then also town hall meetings. Y'all know I'm not going to give up on the town hall meetings at all. I just can't give up on it. And then here's some key points to remember. And I know this isn't your typical news. You're probably like bored to death, but this is the information we need to be talking about. I can give you headline news, but you can get headline news every day on your local news station or national station. You may not get what we're giving, but you can find that. So today I wanted to dedicate the rest of this show to talk about this. Key points to remember when planning your vote. Y'all, voting is personal. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. You got to look within your household, within your community. It's personal. That is where you start. Then you look out. What do you need? What answers do you need? What questions do you need answered? What are the questions you want to ask? It's personal. Understand what inflation is. Understand CPI. Y'all, again, I will never know how to repay Kim Edmondson for getting me connected with stock and investments and government and financials. Kim, I owe you. I owe you so much. Y'all, CPI, Consumer Price Index. That's what we deal with every day in the grocery store, restaurants, lunch, gas, mortgage, lights, utilities, like you name it. Consumer Price Index. Get familiar with that. Get familiar with that. Today, Chairman Powell at 2 p.m. Eastern time today is going to tell us the whole, the jobs, the this, the that, the other, and we'll see the market either go one way or the other because of whatever he's about to say. Is he going to cut rates? Everybody wants to know, will interest rates be cut? Probably not, but we're waiting for that. We're waiting for that. We're waiting for that. But y'all, it's all connected. And being that this is an election year, Wall Street, the financials, they're all over the place. Who's going to do what? And where is this going to land? And how is it going to land? Are we going to see, or is this going to turn to a bearish market, which means, again, so the numbers are going to go down? Or is it going to continue to be a bullish market where the numbers are going to go up? No one knows. No one knows. The AI chips, everybody's waiting for the earning report tonight for NVIDIA. They claim to be the leader. What's really going to happen here? And they will determine as well where the market's headed. Target reported this morning. It's amazing. And maybe this is something we can start doing here on News in Motion, sending you the earnings report, the weekly earnings reports, because I get up now to show you who's reporting what and why. Why are the financial markets happening? Y'all, this is how much power Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase has. 2 days ago, Monday, he was interviewed at a conference and he floated out there that he'll probably retire in 5 years. Y'all, the market was jamming Monday. He spoke, he said he may retire. The banks went this way. Like they just went tumbling down. I said, that's a lot of power to say, well, y'all, at some point he has to be replaced. So why are we putting all of our hope on one person? Why? Now I hear he's a genius. I hear he's a genius. So someone said we got Warren Buffett who's about to step down. Now you're talking about Jamie Dimon's about to step down. What is happening? What is happening? Kim Edmonds said it's all connected. Y'all, it is all connected. You cannot have one piece without the other piece. So when we're talking voting, this is what I mean by playing your vote. Look at the stock market. Start investing and get a copy of the Wall Street Journal. We cannot vote without it. We can't. Diverse opinions. Understand that your opinions may differ from those of others. They may not be the same, but we have to also find an opportunity to connect in unity as well. And if y'all have to, y'all, this, I'm going to the inspirational message here as well too. Connecting in unity. Like, okay, I may not agree with your politics, but I like you as a person. Why can't we go back to that? We're like, you're voting for who? I'm done with you. Why? Just know that can't be a topic of conversation at all. And then listen to hear what they're saying and why they feel the way that they feel. Again, we got to get beyond this one issue thing. Like, this is what I believe in. If you're not supporting this, I'm done with you. What about the other 99 of them that really benefits your household? So again, it's personal. What do you need? How is this going to reflect you? Ask questions. It's natural to have more questions. Seek out the answers. Ask questions. Ask. If you don't understand, we have to stop feeling as if, somebody's going to think I'm stupid if I ask this question. Ask the question. Ask the question. Give you an example. I'm a part of, Kim Evans, I don't know what you did to me. I'm a part of this option trading group. And basically, they're all white men, okay? Hung out with Cassandra Cummings. I think the world of her and her group and went through her classes. And now I'm just diversifying. And believe me, they're all Trump supporters, okay, in this group. But I said, okay, I want to learn from them because they know what they're talking about. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get past the rest of this. And listening to them and understanding. So the other day I asked a question. I said, this is the dumbest question. I asked a question. Out of everyone who was listening, they all said, I've been wanting to ask that question for a long time. I'm thinking, well, why did you ask the question? If you don't know, and I needed an understanding and got the understanding that I needed because I was bold enough to ask. You have a choice. You can remain ignorant or you can ask the question and then you know. So we have to become bold enough to ask the question. Stay informed, research candidates and issues thoroughly before making a decision. Listen. Stay informed with what's happening. Skim different articles. If something jumps out at you, sit there for a moment, read it, dig into it a little bit more. Marion says the only stupid question is the question you don't ask. There it is. Boom, there it is. Consider the impact. Think about how your vote will affect your community and beyond. Think about the impact. Just think about it for a moment. It's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect. So think about the impact. Like, if this happens, what's next? Going back to, I was sharing with you here in Central Ohio, there was a levy passed. And there's so many people now like, what? My property taxes? Well, what's the impact? You voted yes, but did you understand what a greater impact was going to be? See, when we're not taking the time going through all of this, that's why I'm like, I know we're talking less than 6 months now. We got till November. We got to get through the summer. And I've even had people email, why are you talking about this so early? Because this takes time. You can't do this the day of, an hour before, 30 days before. Understand what's happening. And a lot of laws have changed. So check that out. Regina Short says some people vote with emotions and will vote against their interests because they don't understand. Yep, I agree with you. I was thinking about community events and I said, it's sad. And Latrice has been to a couple of mine. We may get 5, 6 people. And I'm like, why? Why? And then people will say later, girl, I had this going on. Girl, I got home and it was raining and I just decided I wasn't going to come out. Really? Really? That's what we're doing now? That's what we're doing now. Verify information. Ensure the sources of your information are credible. Y'all verify this information. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation and disinformation. Check registration. I cannot say that enough. Confirm your voter registration, the status in the polling place. Plan logistics. Y'all, now's the time. Right now is the time to decide whether you're going to vote in person, by mail, early, and make the necessary arrangements. Y'all, now's the time. You're going to start seeing things come in the mail, depending upon the state you live in, or email or whatever, asking if you plan to vote by mail, because they have to send those out. If those come out, you have to sign it, send it back in, then they'll send you the ballot. So yeah, now's the time to start considering, are you going to do that? Are you going to do that? And then know your rights. And we'll be posting when it gets closer to early voting time. We'll be posting that 800 number and so forth. So y'all, that is just a little bit. I know some of this is kind of repeat of what I've shared before, but I'm repeating it on purpose because we have to drill this in. So to wrap up this and the inspirational message, I want to go back to the school board meeting that I joined live stream on yesterday. I thought about frustration. And I thought about misinformation, and I thought about where an organization is not organized, and how it opens up for other people to submit their narratives. The only way you can squash a lot of that is by attending. And even if you have to do it virtually, but I'm not saying the actual pandemic is over, but COVID is still here. Being present in the room gives more weight than tuning in online. Being present, especially something like that. So town hall meetings, school board meetings, city council meetings, if it's township meetings, commissioner meetings, whatever it may be. Start identifying those things. Start getting on their email list, even if you have to set up an email just for all the political stuff. So you can go to Yahoo, Google, whatever, set something up where you may check it once a week or whatever, where all of that goes. Just all of it goes to that particular email. And then start saying, okay, I'm going to schedule this time, just like you schedule girls' night out, men's retreat, couples retreats, whatever it is, just like you schedule that, schedule town hall meetings, schedule school board meetings, schedule council meetings, and show up. If nothing more, just sit in the room with your pencil and pad, or your notes on your phone, smart tablets, whatever. Consume, be like a sponge and soak it all in. Just soak it all in. Use that knowledge and start asking yourself, where do I go from here with this? And do that. Do that. Y'all, to be empowered, to be equipped, to be encouraged, we have to be in the room. So if anything out of the inspirational message today, it's get in the room. Get in the room. We're always talking about, I'm not inviting to the table. Listen, those are standing invitations. Standing invitations, public invitations. Show up. Show up. All right, y'all, know this was a different flow today, but I wanted to get this out. Tomorrow's going to be on the lighter side. It's going to be somewhat of a town hall, but we're going to talk about going into the summer. The holidays are coming up. And y'all, last I read, there are 21 Mondays before Christmas. I just did put that out there just to lighten the load just a little bit. All right, y'all. I'm your host, Gail Dudley. This has been News in Motion. Y'all know what I say. Stay well. And remember, make some bold moves. We're out.
News in Motion.